Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a GameReplays.org Heroes of Newerth cast. Today we have the UNGL semi-finals round between both Empr, Multigaming, and MSI. Now I am just going to quickly pause the game here at the 18, 19, 20. Okay, well, whatever Empr wants to finish picking up their team here. But it does look like the game was remade into an AP, so that kind of means we had like an AFK or something. Alright, I'm at 29 seconds for those of you that like to follow along by yourself. So 29 seconds into the game. There are no bans, simply because the bans were done in the first game. And we had to remake into AP, so they already went through all their banning and picking and all that fancy pants stuff. But we won't be able to do any of that, so whatever, let's just get right into it. I am today the Four Court Jester, and also today I got LukDeRiff on the line. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. It's been a while since we casted, but I'm really looking forward to this cast. And it's the UNGL tournament, and from what I've seen, there have been a lot of good games, and it's MSI versus Empr Gaming, so I'm expecting some really good action out of this.
Yeah, both teams have, those big hard hitters, but as you can tell right here, Empr does not have FaV. FaV, it does look like, has I guess turned his coat, gone freelance, picked up by Katie, whatever you guys want to believe. But at the same time, we have Yo, I'm Here For You playing in for him. He's that Valkyrie there on that right-hand side. But we got more of a very regular lineup here for the MSI Fresh Pro team captain down there, playing, weirdly enough, the Madman. I thought people would have learned to ban him by now. But it does look like, two big, very powerhouse kind of teams going head-to-head here for that $700 prize pool. This game was just played this week, so just about the Halloween era. So we do have the Bombardier around, but I don't see him picked. So, oh well, I guess I'll get to see him later.
Yeah. Yeah, just talking of Bombardier, either he is like auto banned, or teams are just not really familiar with him. But I think he's got some great potential, contrary to many people's beliefs, especially after seeing Chu pick him up and do some awesome work with Bombardier. I think that he's actually pretty close to being OP, but I think at the moment it's all down to personal preferences and opinions and whatnot. We got to see how he turns out in the long run. However, going over MSI's lineup, we see a very, very typical MSI lineup with Glacius, Andromeda, and Gladiator for that typical MSI tri-lane, with Trixie on the Gladiator. Trixie plays a super, super strong Gladiator. He's got such amazing timing on the pitfall trap, so expecting great thing out of him. No Tails plays the Tundra. No Tail plays a very strong Tundra. Is a very good micro player that No Tail is. He's got like 190 APM, which is pretty high for Heroes of Newer standards and Madman. Yeah. Yeah, if you look at like StarCraft 2 with the 300 APMs flowing around, that is just a whole other league in that sense. But FreshPro is going to play the Madman, which he's obviously known for, and he plays a super strong Madman as well, which he likes to play in the solo lane. So so I suppose that MSI gonna take their tri lane to the short lane, allowing Madman to get a solo lane. And now going over Empire's lineup. Yeah, not quite sure what they're gonna do. Because I don't have a. I've seen tri lanes constructed around Valkyrie, so they could possibly do something with Hellbringer, Valkyrie, and Magnus, or something with Chipper, who's been more and more stronger pickups ever since the toss cast time was removed. He's really strong pickup now, and he also plays a strong can be played in a supportive role, so in the tri lane. But also they can run like a Valkyrie Magnus lane and a Chipper Hellbringer lane, so they're really like not set yet, and Soulsteer is most likely gonna head mid. I don't think that there is any contestant for that.
Well, the Chipper used to be like this really, really early into the retail, like way back during release back in May. He was a very very strong pickup. Usually a lot of bans went out on the chipper, or he went solo mid kind of idea, and haven't really seen him at all in the last three months or so. Simply because the shift in the meta game, he became a little too weak. Great nuker, but a little too weak to survive that kind of jazz. So I'm a little interested to see what they can do here. As for a tri-lane for Empire, I don't know. I just don't see the mix. Like, Valkyrie's very strong in that solo lane, that long, hard lane, simply because she has a lot of survivability. And as you mentioned, Soul Stealer is kind of a great nuking hero, and he really dominates mid. Well, if he's played well, he'll dominate mid, and Unique Phaser can definitely play him well. That just leaves us, with the Chipper, the Hellbringer, the Magnus. If they do a tri-lane, I mean, it's kind of those three candidates, but at the same time, I think they might just end up going a 2-2-1 or 2-1-2 combination. That's just kind of how I see it unfolding in my mind. Well, that's just me.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I don't like the lane setup that much, because as good as Hellbringer is, and as good as Chipper is, and as you said, they could work a tri-lane around Hellbringer, Chipper, and Magnus, which is not like bad, but it's also not a very strong tri-lane. Chipper is a very strong pickup nowadays, because, as I said, the Tar Toss is really easy to hit now, and if hit by the rockets, you get an extra dot and more damage, and he is just very, very strong right now. But I suppose the only way that we can find out how they're going to work their lanes is by just watching the game.
That sounds like an excellent suggestion. So those of you at home following along, we are at the 29-second mark in the replay control. So I am going to hit play on a 3, 2, 1 play. I am now going. We're at 30 seconds. The game will be happening momentarily. The only people not ready here is, of course, MSI, and they got 20 seconds to figure it out. So, yeah, here we go. MSI and Empire multi-gaming for the UNGL semifinals. Whoever's going to win this will go on to the finals for that prize pool of $500, total of $700. UNGL really coming out with a big prize, especially since, I mean, a lot of the times they just do 4 fun cups. So it's always good to see tournaments advancing like that, bringing out some of these bigger names. Now, I believe the other semifinals round is the OK versus Go. And I believe the OK is Old Kingdom or Oak Kingdom or something like that.
I always forget what it is. I only know that they're the old KD Gaming.
Right. Yeah, they picked up the old KD Gaming team, and the old KD organization went and picked up Dirty Minds. So that's kind of a nice, fun swap for everyone to keep track of. Alright, but the game is on. We are now in. These ghosts are still lingering around, so yeah, that's okay. Ghosts are cool. Yeah. Everyone likes ghosts. Do we still have like mummified creeps and stuff? I guess we would. There's Kongorstein or Stein or however you want to call it. So
I love the Halloween theme. I think they should do tons of themes for every time. But again, people claim that they probably should put more time into balancing and stuff. And actually, very interesting. Empire Gaming now heading down with Magnus, Hellbringer, and Valkyrie here in the at what it looks like is a tri-lane, and then we're gonna have Chipper solo against this fresh Madman. So it's pretty interesting here. I'm not sure how I like the tri-lane. Of course, you have got the Valkyrie arrow, which is a very strong stun if hit correctly. Of course, can be easily set up by the Magma stun. What I generally don't like is Hellbringer in the tri-lane, because he doesn't add that much apart from strong harassment, of course a relatively strong slow as well, but yeah, I don't think he's one of the stronger heroes in the tri-lane. I really like to see him in the solo, getting the levels, being a really dominant character or hero, whatever, in a solo lane, being able to out harass pretty much any other hero in the game. And yeah, I just don't like him in the tri-lane, I have to say that.
Well, you're allowed your likes and your dislikes, but that is what Empire wants to go with for this round. So that will leave us, as you said, with a very interesting to me at least, throwing Chipper, that squishy hero, up against this Madman, but Madman and Chipper, they both have the same base health pool, at least after items, this nice warm up here. So I don't know, is Chipper going to go more of a defensive build, or is he just going to go balls to the walls all out with those rockets and tower combos? Because he does have, of course, his focus buffer, and the focus buffer, at least up against a Madman, will negate a lot of that stock damage that Fresh Pro gets off. Because that's his main source of survivability, is that stock spam. Get himself a bottle, do some ferrying, that kind of deal. So we'll have to see how that goes. Tundra is definitely an interesting pick for that Soul Steer. I have seen No Tail do really well with a Tundra mid. I have seen him fail flat on his face, and it does not look so very pretty at all. So we will have to see how he stacks up against Unique Phaser, playing that Soul Steer, who has, of course, a little bit of a reputation of doing very well in that mid lane himself. So, yeah, that puts us with the two tri-lanes button head-to-head. Now, you said, Hellbringer not really contributing too much there, but that Death Boy, I mean, that's an AoE type of spell. I mean, with a lucky shot and a lucky bounce, I mean, you can get all three heroes and just stack, 200-ish damage on all of them, so...
Yeah, but only if you get the levels up on it. On lower levels, it doesn't deal that much damage. In a tri-lane, you can't expect to get many levels, early on. So that's really what limits him, I think, in the tri-lane, is the fact that he won't get the levels that he really needs. And, an early Malphus is definitely something that can help your team a lot. And, being in the tri-lane, that won't help him. Getting the early Malphus, especially as they're going in the short lane now, where they actually can't pull creeps, so even less experience for the Hellborn tri-lane. And yeah, it's going to be interesting how that works out really for them. It obviously allows Chipper to get the solo lane, get solo experience, and I don't think he will put too much into focus buffer or any points, because the point of having a Chipper in the solo is that he will build up this very strong nuking power that he can possess, and that, getting an early ultimate on Chipper gives him very, very good burst damage indeed, and that will definitely help his team out, because he can just gank a lot if he gets this in the early levels. That is really the idea that is behind that.
Yeah, a really strong Chipper is kind of akin to a very strong Thunderbringer right off the bat. I mean, those with the tar and the combination of the rockets with the dots, even throwing down his ult right on top of the tar, can definitely be very devastating against these squishy MSI team. It looks like they want to go in on Hellbringer. There goes the Pitfall, and auto attacks. This should be it for him, and he goes down with Trixie not going to be getting off that last auto attack, but it looks like Magnus will be alright to get out of there. Now, as you're saying, with a Malphus coming out of the level 6, that could definitely be very helpful for this lane, but as you did say, I mean, they are in that tri-lane. It's a very much reduced experience, and at the same time, it's going to take a heck of a lot longer to get to that Malphus stage. So, yeah, this early game is just not going to be helping him whatsoever, as I just fling all north here to see Fresh Pro kind of just jumping down a little bit in that health. He does have only a Chalice, so that is his new adaptation ever since they kind of nerfed the bottle ferrying at the same time. I mean, we do got Unique Phaser in the mid there with his bottle, but every time you ferry a bottle right now, it's only 2 charges. It looks like a little bit of revenge not going to go down here at the bottom with Andromeda, so a lot of evenly spread damage down here on this tri-lane as they're still going head-to-head and not really letting up on either side. But yeah, with the Chalice change, the bottle change, people have to change up their strats. It's all about adaptation at this point. And I mean, so we've seen the bottom lane here butting heads, but how's the mid and top doing for farm? Like, who's really winning out in that farm in the mid there?
That's a good question. We're gonna actually look at it, but Tundra's creep score looks really good. 23 and 5 denies, and there we have that Soulseer sitting on pretty poor 13 creep kills right now and no denies. So Tundra's really doing a great job, making good advantage out of his pretty good burst damage, and obviously a lot of charge spam probably to get some last hits. And that's the way, if you can beat the Soulseer in mid, that is just huge. Just just delaying the farm of Soulseer is so good. It's just it's always
words are escaping
to limit a Soulseer, to limit a Soul Stealer, you have to gank him like there's no tomorrow. But if you beat him in a lane, then hell yeah, you don't need to gank him. That, you know, takes pressure off your team. And of course, delaying Soul Stealer's farm, which will inevitably come because his demon hands are so good for farming, is just really, really good. I just, you know, beating a Soul Stealer in mid is something that is can be very crucial to the over course of a game.
Well, something that's also very crucial, taking down that Magnus. I don't really understand why he went that far deep into enemy lanes. He had no support there from the Hellbringer or the Valkyrie, but he tried his best, saw the pitfall go down, realized he needed to kind of cut his losses, get out of there. At the same time, we had Fresh Pro getting a lot of damage laid on him.